All right. So we are live finally. Wow. So it's almost the end of September. Welcome to Feelings with the Geekiary, the Dragon Con 2017 edition. I am Tara, along with guests Bekah, Adam. Adam's not in here yet. Sorry. Andrew is here though. Our friend Adam was supposed to join, but he lost internet because he lives in Florida, and Spectrum in Florida is the worst thing that's ever existed. And that's why this webcast is so late. Anyway, so Bekah, Andrew, and Zach, welcome, guys.
Yay!
Bekah, you want to do the friendly reminder? Do you have the... I can't hear you, Bekah. I'll do it. All right. Friendly reminder, this is also a podcast. It will be a few days before we get this episode uploaded, but please subscribe to us on iTunes so you don't miss any of our feelings. If you're listening to it as a podcast, please remember that this is recorded live as a webcast. We aren't exactly sure what's going to happen. Forgive us any technical difficulties or accidental swears. And if there is some sort of moment that seems like complete nonsense, it's probably because you are listening to it and not watching it and can't see our gorgeous faces. You can join the conversation on Twitter with the hashtag Geekiary Feelings. How will we know that we are wrong if you don't tell us? I'd also like to remind you that the views expressed on this webcast are those of the hosts as individuals and do not necessarily represent the Geekiary or the webcast itself as a whole. Okay, so now that that's done, hopefully Bekah will have sound sometime soon. There you go. I can hear you.
Okay. Am I echoing though?
No, you're fine. For right
okay,
now.
So I'm just not going to bother with my headphones then because...
Okay. I'll make you mute yourself if you start echoing.
Okay.
Anyway, so our monthly episode of Feelings, we're actually moving that to the first Thursday of the month from now on. We decided to do this because there's just too many conventions that happened the last Thursday, and we kept having to push it back anyway. So we should have another live, regular monthly episode of Feelings next Thursday, October 5th at 8 p.m. Eastern. So don't forget to tune into that. Now, go ahead and introduce yourself, guys. Whoever wants to go first.
I had to accidentally pulled mine out because I was trying to figure out what was wrong with my... Okay, so I am Bekah. I'm a writer with the Geekiary. I've been on a few episodes of Feelings. I do mostly like the YA stuff, and this year I'll actually start covering Walking Dead. Really excited about that. It's going to be my first regular reviewing. This is my third year at Dragon Con, and I did a few cosplays, and I enjoyed a little bit of it. This is a weird con for me. But yeah, next person, go.
Hey, I'm Andrew. This is my 6th Dragon Con. Looking forward to next year. I'm going to try for the 3-peat with the Marriott, so I'm hoping I get lucky with the Hunger Games. But I live in Orlando, Florida. I may start a podcast pretty soon, so we'll see about that. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me. And I'm a big attendee on Ice and Fire Con as well with Tara.
And I'm Zach. I've been going to Dragon Con for 10 years. You're number 10, baby.
Yeah, Zach and I met through It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia cosplay.
Woo!
Also, guys, for some reason, I'm not getting an echo on my end over here, but we do have people in the live chat saying we're getting an echo. So if you aren't using headphones, mute yourself, or please start using them if you can. I can't hear it, and that's weird that they can hear it outside and we can't, but I want to make sure that whoever's watching can actually, isn't going to be frustrated by this echo the whole time. So yeah. Anyway, so what I usually like to start the Dragon Con episodes with the cons to just get them out of the way, because I personally, I had a really great Dragon Con this year. It would be hard to beat last year, but I did have a good time. So yeah, get the cons out of the way, which for this year were pretty minimal for me personally. I did hear complaints from other people, but for me, it was mostly what the heck was up with the lines to get into the Marriott. from the Hyatt, like in the Habit Trail, I've experienced those lines before, but it was in like during odd times when there was a rainstorm outside or something. But this time it was literally almost every time I was trying to go between hotels, even like earlier in the morning when the parade was going on Saturday. I was going to an early morning interview and I waited like 10 minutes to get into the Marriott. So I don't know what they were doing differently this year going into the Marriott, but it wasn't working. And then also, I personally don't like talking about hearsay, but like I did hear a horror story about, it was a friend of a friend who had trouble with some of the hired like rent-a-cop security guards. And this isn't on Dragon Con really, because a lot of the times, at least organizing conventions from my part, when a hotel requires you to hire extra security because of an event, they pretty much require you to use the security companies that they use. So I had a friend of a friend who had some issues with security, I think at the Hilton, that was pretty bad. Not going to go into details, but it was bad. It was even worse than what I dealt with, which was being verbally assaulted in the Hyatt lobby by one of the little like security guard rent-a-cop people on Sunday afternoon, which I've already, like, I complained about it on the subreddit and on Facebook and stuff. So I don't think I need to get into details, but I do think that, or I hope that next year, that if enough people complain about the security issues this year, that they will look into making some changes with them next year. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
Okay, so I unmuted myself because I figured I was probably the one that was echoing. So just like a lot of lines and stuff, I noticed congestion too. Just everywhere I went, they just were like congregating in groups, and it was really hard. It was like bottlenecks everywhere, and you could not go anywhere. They had a big issue. Now, this is not something that Dragon Con can help. This is just something, I guess it's Atlanta. I don't know. But they had a really bad issue with panhandlers this year, or just random people coming in off the street. I had an issue where I was very aggressively approached by somebody using extremely explicit sexual language. And I had to physically push him away. And it was down in the Marriott. So I understand they can't watch everybody all the time. It's by the fountain. It was like 2:00 in the morning. But that just was not really super great. There were a couple other situations where we had to deal with, verbal assault on the street from people. And so I understand that you can report, there was a couple issues with some cosplayers and stuff, but overall, just I don't know, it just wasn't safe. Con was not great for me. I had a lot of stuff happen that made me kind of ugh. But that's just, my personal stuff. Dragon Con is not responsible for the behavior of people outside the convention or even some of the people in the convention. And I know that, there was an issue with, the infamous chair being thrown, and several women, actually, I think 3 of them got hit by the chairs, but that's a whole nother can of worms, and that's also not Dragon Con's fault at all, because they were not con attendees, is what I've heard. But overall, just did not enjoy this Dragon Con, did not have much of a good time, but that's not their fault. That's, my own personal experience.
Anybody else have cons?
No, my con was really short. I mean, and I definitely think that the con is feeling its numbers, because I think that they had projected it at 80,000 this year, and I think that was their conservative fire marshal estimate. So you definitely see year after year, especially having gone for multiple years, that the numbers have increased, and I think that's just a growing pains thing. I think some of these things are symptoms of that. When you get a certain amount of people, things are going to happen. For example, one of the big issues this year, I think, was line queuing and whatnot. When I was waiting down with Tara at one of the photographers on, outside the Walk of Fame, I think we kept bumping into people, waiting in that line for the photographer that were trying to get into the Walk of Fame. And that's just a queuing issue with too many people underestimating who's going to be in line where. And, that's something that Dragon Con just needs to be cognizant of in the future. I don't know how much they can do, but it's definitely getting to be a massive con. I mean, when we tried to get into Bunny Hutch, I think this is one we didn't even get inside. I don't think. I mean, we barely got inside. We did eventually get inside, but the line was just so ridiculously long to get inside this year. But that's just a symptom of so many people.
Yeah, I think the lines for the parties, I kind of always just assume they're going to happen. I mean, last year we walked into the Bunny Hutch, so I think this year it might have been, I mean, maybe it was them moving it to the Hilton. It was a different room, different maybe security working it, et cetera, different setup, whatever. But yeah, I mean, I've waited or I've seen lines for parties where I like was going to go to Heroes and Villains and I walked up, looked at the line and was like, LOL, no. So, Zach, did you have any cons?
Yeah. The only con for me is my friend had a cow costume and he would keep the alcohol in the udders. So we would suck that shit dry. And when you became accustomed to having that alcohol and it dries up, you're lost,
That's a good con, I guess. It's a very positive con, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, being out of alcohol is never fun. Anyway, so Andrew, I remember that line for Walk of Fame though was ridiculous, and the time that we were down there in Brian Humphrey's line wasn't the only time it was that bad. So
right, and I've never seen it like that before in previous years. This is my sort of caveat. Like I've never seen that be an issue before.
Well, they had the area for people to queue up, but people weren't using it. They were just making one long line that went out, off to the back of the photography area. So, I mean, that it was definitely them not having enough volunteers or them not having the right volunteers there to tell people you need to queue where, the tape is on the floor. But it's also on the people who are lining up and not paying attention to the very obvious tape on the floor. Yeah. So anyway, pros. Who has pros? I don't want to go first every time, so.
I mean, I'll go first. I mean, I always love, the one thing I love about Dragon Con is every single year I end up doing something new and meeting new people. And I mean, I think this year I probably went to more parties, at least on the last day. I think I went to like every party there was on the last night. Was it Yule Ball and then the rave, and then I think I went to like a third party or some point. I was drinking a lot. I don't clearly remember. Then there was like an impromptu dance party in the lobby that I went to that like some guy randomly threw with a boombox, and then figured out that the Marriott pool opens at 6 a.m. So just stayed up and went for a swim, went in the jacuzzi, and slept for like 3 hours before I drove back to Orlando. So just an awesome time meeting new people. I mean, that's what I love about Dragon Con. Each time I go, I meet new people. I see new things. And also, and I know Tara's going to agree with me on this, awesome new high fantasy track. Really loved my fellow panelists. Obviously, Tara was on it, but everybody who was on a panel with me did an amazing job. The moderators were great. The people in the audience were great. The questions were appropriate and on point. Also did one panel for American Sci-Fi Media, also very great. Everybody was on point. I was with Mike Faber, a couple others, but they all did an excellent job, and I really was satisfied with the quality of panelists. That's not always something that stands up, especially in these smaller panels, but this year was great.
Yeah, I mean, I really. Oh, go ahead.
Panel.
The theories one, the late night one. How long did you guys? When did you guys get in line for that?
Pretty early. Pretty damn early. I can't even remember at this point.
We had friends who waited in line for a while and they were just shy of getting in, which is weird for me. I don't think I've ever been on a fan panel that had a line like that. I've been on ones that filled up, but never one that had a line. So that was really cool. And it was such a fun panel. Although there were definitely some people in the audience who didn't really understand that it was supposed to be ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, no, the high fantasy track. Again, like like you said, Andrew, they did such a good job this year. I am like so happy that change was made, where now Game of Thrones and Song of Ice and Fire are with the same track.
Yes.
And it's somebody who knows how to work with series like that. I also worked with the Apocalypse Rising track for the first time. I moderated 2 panels for them, and I really enjoyed working with them. The track director was very communicative. The room in the Westin was great. There was really good audio. There was a projector available if we wanted it. So I'm not used to that with Dragon Con fan panels. So that was a really, I felt like I'd like made it.
Yeah. And I think both of us were on the most panels we've ever been on this year, I think. You had like 6 and I think I had 4.
Yeah, it was
So,
a lot.
yeah.
A lot. Other pros. I mean, Zach, you clearly had a good time. So apparently you had an udder full of alcohol. Like, I missed that.
10 years I'd go to the BDSM meetup. I did. That was fun. Let's see. I went to your panel. I went to that. I barely did any damn panels, but it was still a good time. The game area was awesome. Werewolf was awesome as usual. Met a lot of fun people there, so I had a good time.
You know, I've never I can't believe I'm admitting this. I've never actually like been able to join in a werewolf game. I've just never even stumbled on one.
At Dragon Con.
Yeah, at Dragon Con. I've played werewolf, yeah. Yeah. At our house we call it One Night Ultimate Terrorwolf because I'm freaking always the werewolf. But yeah, I'm just making sure that everybody's like viewable. Y'all have your cameras on, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
I don't know. It's like apparently it's showing me way more than it's showing anybody else, and it's something that Google Hangouts did because we did a Dragon Con webcast in August, and it was the same way. Like it wasn't me though; it was our friends Ashley and Keith. You could see their faces for like 90% of the webcast, and then every once in a while, I'd be like, "Oh, but look at these other people." So anyway, Bekah, what about your pros?
Once again, not really a great con really in general. You know, and it makes me really sad because I love Dragon Con. It's one of my favorite conventions aside from Ice and Fire. And this year was a thing. Now I did the pro every single year without fail, the cast of 100, like every single year so far, for the past 3 years I've been there. They've been on point. They've been so friendly, and their panels are always amazing. They're so funny, and they love their fans. And I always talk about them, and I can't help it. But I don't necessarily like the way the show is going itself. But the actors are always so kind, and I ended up in a pretty in my badge, got my badge smooth. So it was good. We're talking about pros, right? Not memorable moments. Okay. All right. That's it for me.
I probably merged my memorable moment in there, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Hey, I want to talk about a memorable moment.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the astronaut they had there, and I can't remember his damn name. Does anybody remember that guy?
Oh,
Not off the top of my
I
head.
forget.
I don't know. I had a lot of fun. I pretended to be a flat earther and talked to him. I looked up about 10 flat earth talking points and went up to him and seen if he could refute them all.
Did he successfully do it?
Oh yeah. You know, I walked up to him and asked if he orbited the earth. He said yes. And I said, all right, so the earth is flat, right? And he said no. So I asked him, you know, how can you stand on top of a mountain and not see the curvature of the earth? And, you know, they're all easily refutable. So he shot him down, but, you know, I had to make him think.
That's good. I have seen, I forget if it's like Buzz Aldrin or somebody else actually like punch one of the flat earthers in the face. There's a pretty famous video, you know, because he's just getting up in his face and yelling at him. And I think he just like wheeled around and just knocked him, you know, just wailed on him.
That would have made my con.
Yeah, if you got punched for being a flat earther, yeah.
Yeah, his handler wouldn't take her picture, so I had to get my friends to take it. But you know, it worked out.
That's cool.
So Andrew, you said your pros were kind of merged.
Yeah, it kind of merged. I mean,
Or
obviously,
memorable moments, I mean.
Yeah, my memorable moments, like I said, meeting people, having good panels, you know, seeing people. That's generally what it is. I mean, all the parties were amazing. Like I said, all of them on all the nights that I went to were really great, well run. Hopefully next year we get a Game of Thrones theme party. I'm going to push for it. So I'm looking forward to that. And just, you know, once again, I mean, one of my favorite things is like going to the room parties, seeing people I know, having folks over at my place in the Marriott. You know, that's why I go to Dragon Con, and it did not disappoint this year either.
Room parties? You mean the ones at 2.5 Strikes, that hoppin' new bar at Dragon Con?
In the Hyatt, located
the
on
Hyatt.
the second level. Yeah.
This year, anyway.
Not the con suite, yeah.
Not the con suite, yeah. My memorable moments. I went to a rave. This is my 6th Dragon Con, and every year I was like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna somehow stay up and go to a rave. And I always had things to do early in the morning and stuff. And this year I still had to get up in the morning, but I just said, you know what, it's like, if I don't do it now, I'm never gonna do it. So I finally went to a rave. I had fun. You know, it's definitely not something I could do every night at Dragon Con, but I'll definitely try to go to another one next year. And I also I got the Brian Humphrey photo package, the one where it's like a multi-pass where you get photos all throughout the weekend, and that was like so worth it because I was especially this year, I was super lazy and stayed in my costumes for all of like 2 or 3 hours each. And when I was in them, even, I think I took like a selfie on my camera in most of them, but that was about it. So having the photo package with him was like, I'm sure if I hadn't had that, I probably would have gone out of my way to get more pictures of myself, but it was nice not having to remember to do it. So
yeah.
So yeah, that was a big plus. It had been suggested to me.
And everyone I saw who did that, include yourself included, like all the photos, folks who went to Brian Humphreys, I saw came out great. So that's, you know, awesome.
Bekah has disappeared forever.
Oh, I do have another memorable moment. So Sunday night, we accidentally wandered into a D-list celebrity party.
I think I heard about this.
Yeah, so we get in there. They think we're important, so they keep asking me, "Who are you?" I'm Zach. No, I mean, like, who are you? And we met a few people there, Garrett, Wang, and people that I couldn't even recall off the top of my head. We started chatting up with some fellow to his room and refilled our drinks, and it was Mark Meir, the voice of Commander Shepard.
Oh, nice.
And we got our drinks refilled, and it was a solid night.
Yeah, that sounds
That's
like
awesome.
fun. I've never gotten to stumble into a party like that at Dragon Con, but I've stumbled into some more than like B-list celebrity parties at like Comic-Con and stuff, but I don't know, it's not the same. Dragon Con is better.
I think their guard is down at Dragon Con a little bit, you know. I mean, they're not as cautious. Yeah.
Yeah.
And at Dragon Con, people are going to let you chill. I mean, unless you're super, super big and just going to get swarmed. Like, people aren't going to, you know, try to jump you because you're the voice of Commander Shepard. So you can just relax and have some drinks.
Bekah, were your memorable moments like the same as your Dragon Con pros, kind of similar?
No, actually, they're not. So I this year I usually do like one photo op a year or whatever. First year I did Richard Harmon. This year I did a group photo op with 100 people. And I was in my cosplay. And I can't really, like, there's a reflection, I'm sorry. And, but no, like, I got a chance to, because I had a few friends who were hanging out down by their table. So I got a chance to, like, actually, like, talk to Richard. And everybody knows I love Murphy. He's my favorite character. And so, like, but we, like, actually got a chance to, like, talk like human beings. And that was really cool. And ended up in a pretty crappy situation. But out of it, I've made a couple of really good friends. And I got a chance to see all my friends too, which is really nice because a lot of them, like I miss a lot of them. Like Terry, like I miss Terry like crazy. I miss Tara like crazy. I miss all you noodles like crazy. And but I don't really miss Zach much. I guess he's kind of gross.
Hey.
No, you know. So like, and I did get to see you though. I got a chance to see you. I got a photo, but no. But I got a chance to meet some really cool new people. Like expand my circle a little bit. So Brenda and Bekah, if you're watching, I know you're not, but I love you.
Well, if they're not watching live, it's not like this. It's not like this webcast goes away later.
They won't. Like they won't. I don't know. They probably won't watch it because we're not very exciting. Although apparently, according to Keith, I need to do something. I don't know. I need to
have your own YouTube channel that
I
follows
do, right?
you around.
Yeah. Well, I don't do anything exciting though. All I do is like cry with my wine shower. What?
That's what you think.
Oh, apparently I'm entertaining. Go figure. But no, it was like towards the end of the con, it was good. It was cool. And I got to see everybody, all my favorite people. That's honestly part of the reason why I do it. Like, even if I never cosplayed again, I'd still go see you guys.
I mean, I think everybody has one bad Dragon Con. Like,
oh, yeah.
I had a really shitty Dragon Con in 2014. But it was never like, no matter how bad it was, and it was really bad. This was probably like the worst convention I've ever been on or been to, and probably the second, and it had nothing to do with Dragon Con itself. It was personal stuff, and it was like the second worst like vacation I've ever been on. Maybe the third. I don't know. It's definitely in the top 3. But I mean, it would never stop me from going back because here's the thing: it's always like it was personal issues that I had, and the way to deal with that is to cut those issues out of your life, like a cancer.
You gotta leave that shit at home.
Yeah,
and enjoy.
Cut that shit out like a cancer and move on.
That's kind of what I'm having to do in this situation. But like, dude, my Slytherin is so strong, and I just want to beat some asses. I really do. But I'm just having to be like,
that's the Gryffindor in you. The Slytherin is not beat ass. It is in the back. You know,
honey.
As a true Slytherin.
No, but like the Slytherin, like they have a sense of.
Meanwhile, I'm over here like, can everybody just get along?
No, Tara. No, I have seen you go after people.
No,
No, Hufflepuffs will fuck shit up. Oh.
The badger. You gotta watch out for the badger.
And the snake. A snake.
So anyway, next we had memorable cosplays. Does anybody have anything that like really stood out for them?
Okay, I mean, for me, obviously, I want to say the one that's gotten the most social media attention and everywhere. The elderly woman who did Elena and just crushed it. Yes, you did deal with it, Elena, as well. But like, you know, anytime there's an 80-year-old woman, you know, who goes out, you know, in the wheelchair and did it, you know, had the sign "It was me," and then "Not dead yet," and the sunglasses. I mean, she just killed it. Crushed social media with those photos. Showed up at all the Game of Thrones photo shoots, and just did awesome. I was lucky to have some photos with her that I was in the same proximity of, and that was just awesome. I personally enjoyed for myself. I really love my Westworld cosplay because it blended in with a lot of things, and I got a lot of good shots with other people. So. Oh
yeah, when I wore, I was Bonnie McFarlane from Red Dead Redemption, actually 2013 and 2014, and both years I had like the most random pictures of people just dressed up, like it's not even random, but people dressed up from like older Western movies and whatnot that had nothing to do with Red Dead Redemption, but it kind of goes with a lot of stuff. Like that's one of those costumes where if I could find somebody who would cosplay John Marston again, I would totally wear my Bonnie McFarlane again, because as long as I have a John Marston with me, I'm golden. But then also with all the Westworld stuff, it works with that too. You know, I can just imagine people nowadays being like, "Oh, are you some random Westworld character?"
Yeah.
But yeah, for this year, I had I mean, I was, like I said, I was super lazy with my costumes. I wore them for like a couple hours each. I did wear like a party Cersei Lannister cosplay that one of my friends strongly suggested that I wear again this coming weekend at MegaCon Tampa for their after party. And it's just like a party Cersei with a red hat that says "Make incest great again," and it was both like it was like hilarious and also kind of problematic because people would double take. And I know that they were absolutely double taking at the hat and trying to make sure it didn't say "Make America Great Again." And then as soon as they saw it and they kind of looked at what I was wearing, it was like, oh, okay. Like, clearly well, if they knew Game of Thrones at all, which, you know, these days most people do, clearly she's supposed to be Cersei. Ha ha ha, that's funny. But yeah, that one was fun just for the silly like double takes it got.
You know, you got to think about it. You probably fucked with some people's heads. And
I absolutely
it totally went over. They didn't get it.
I mean, you could have been Dany too now, right?
Yeah, there was a Daenerys. So my friend like made me the hat as like a joke. My friend Nami, sweetest girl. So she made me the hat as a joke, and she made one for her friend who cosplays Daenerys as well. But the other girl, the one who's Daenerys, wore it on Friday, and then I think she was gonna wear it Saturday night too, but I never saw her. But yeah, like there was a Daenerys who was wearing it. So, but it works. Honestly, though, for Cersei, like the "Make Incest Great Again" is good, but "Make Westeros Great Again" probably would have been a little bit better.
Yeah. Or Wildfire.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was like my favorite costume. Like, honestly, I was really disappointed in the quality, like the general quality of DragonCon cosplay this year. I don't know if it's just that cosplay in general is getting a little bit oversaturated, but usually DragonCon is top notch. I see way better cosplays there than I've seen anywhere else at any other convention all year long. But I don't really think that's the case this year. And also, I freaking love Rick and Morty, but Rick from Rick and Morty is the new like Deadpool. I'm tired of it already. Well, if I'd seen more Pickle Ricks, like Pickle Rick is cool, but just the general generic like Rick, it's like, how many of them can there be? P.S. The answer is too many. Like, too many. I love Rick and Morty, but not everybody should wear like not. I don't know. It's just it's overdone already. Like the T-Rexes, they're overdone too. Except for the handmade one. That one was funny. Although his costume did smell really bad. I had to walk right behind him in a habit trail, and it was not pleasant. Him, her, it could have been a girl. I don't know. Couldn't see. I don't know. Anyone else memorable cosplays?
Well, I mean, you know, like, not to be salty, but like, dude, I worked on my Deal With It Olenna cosplay for a long time.
I know.
I did a lot of, no, shut up. I did a lot of hard work. I don't love you anymore, Andrew. I put in a lot of really hard work, and I actually stabbed myself making the cosplay, and I almost had to go get stitches. And like, it just, don't laugh at me. And it just like, no, it just like, and I don't know. I thought I was so good and I was so clever, and I found like a Joffrey to pose with, and I had my, you know, #1 grandma pimp cup and everything. And I don't know. Like,
I mean, it was clever, but you're always going to get upstaged by the old lady who did it. I mean, and honestly, like, did y'all see the video? Did y'all see the video of her? Like, finding out that she was internet famous and how she was like, it's the photographers and these people who love me who are really awesome. And I was like, you're the best thing that's ever happened to America.
That was like our old man at Ice and Fire Con. You know, you just can't beat that.
But anyway, I thought it was clever. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed mine. I'm
clever.
sorry, y'all. Like I was so proud of myself, and then I saw her, and I was like, well, shit. But no, like I'm just getting it. Like I don't know. I'm just really salty about that because I was so proud of myself.
Just
And,
wear it at
like-
Ice and FireCon again.
Oh no, I'm actually
Yeah.
planning on wearing it at MegaCon. I think next year.
Ice
There
and
was-
FireCon.
There was the Iron Merman guy who's really, really good. I only saw photos of him, but it was really cool. Also, somebody was Homie the Clown, which was really funny. But I guess only funny to me because that's what my dad raised me on. I don't know. But I really I did Hera Syndulla. I think my favorite cosplay I did was probably Hera Syndulla with the Star Wars Rebel Girl Gangs. And then I did my, Ivy's Little Monster with Tara, and that was really cool. And I don't know, I really liked my cosplays this year. I did get sick though, and I had to drop a couple of my cosplays, which made me really sad. But I don't know. I was really proud of my cosplays this year, but it's just I don't know.
I was lazy with my cosplays, so
I think your Poison Ivy was really good. Everybody really liked us. Well, people who paid attention really liked us.
I mean, I'd worn it before, so that one was easy, but I really didn't do that much new stuff, and then after the fact I was like, Anyway, Zach, what about you? Did you wear any? Well, I saw you several times and you were dressed as what's his name from Oh my God.
I did Uncharted. I did Always Sunny again. I had a Logan costume. As far as most memorable costume for me, well, nothing's gonna top the two Twin Towers from last year because they reminded us to never forget. First of all, so I remembered. And what did I see this year that I really liked? One of my friends, they did he's a vibrant POC. He did a Border Patrol costume. I'm very proud of him for that. He wore it proudly. He wore it strongly. He had swords. A force to be reckoned with. He was the guy that talked about you remember?
Oh yeah, I remember that comment.
What was this?
The white privilege.
Oh.
Remember.
Wait. White, W-I-G-H-T.
W-I-G-H-T. Remember that?
W-I-N.
Yeah, okay, listen, I was super drunk at that panel.
Yeah.
You handled it
sorry, not sorry, but I'd been drinking since I had an interview at 9 a.m. and I got back from that interview and started drinking while we watched the parade. And then Andrew and I had our Game of Thrones look back panel, and I was still sober for that, but I never stopped drinking all day long. So by the time our 10 p.m. Panel came around, the only reason I remember any of it is that I recorded it. So I would have to listen, and I've only listened to the first 20 minutes. I'd have to listen to the whole thing to really remember what all happened.
We were all drunk, by the way. I mean, everybody on that panel was drunk.
Brian was not. So
okay, so except with the exception of Brian, who put on perhaps the most theatrical performance, transforming Euron Dario.
Yes, yeah, he wasn't supposed to be wearing a costume at all for that panel, and he had a Greyjoy t-shirt, and I was like, I mean, don't we have, you have black boots in the room, and somebody else had left black gloves, and he had facial hair from another costume, the glue on or whatever facial hair. And then he was like, do you have anything that will make my lips blue? And I was like, I have blue lipstick. I go nowhere without it. That is actually true.
It's a solid color.
He is the king of thrown together last minute ridiculous costumes. But yeah, no, he was able to act ridiculous without actually. I think he was the only person on that panel that was mostly sober. Also, apparently, one of my roommates is watching and is asking on Facebook why I haven't mentioned. I'm guessing he said something else, but I think he meant Zelda. So in our new, A++ Dragon Con bar called 2.5 Strikes, we had an original, like one of those new NES, not an SNES. It was the
preloaded NES.
the little NES things that they sold last year or earlier this year. So we had one of those, and we had it up, like plugged into the TV all weekend. Once we figured out how to get it plugged into the TV, thanks Hyatt Engineering, because they had it shut off so that if you plugged something into the back of the TV, it wouldn't work unless they came and like flipped a switch or something. It was really questionable. So we had this, NES plugged into the TV all weekend, and everybody who came into our room, as long as there weren't, too many people in there, got to play Zelda. And it turned into just kind of the thing that everybody came to our room and played Zelda when they wanted to like cool down or hang out or whatever. So next year we're going to be charging rupees to get into 2.5 Strikes. So
Capitalism.
Yeah. Oh yes, that's the other thing. It's also Zelda Legend. It's no longer Zelda, like Legend of Zelda. It's Legend of Capitalism. There's like that guy who's like trying to get you to gamble and stuff. I don't know. I'm mentioning this because my roommate wanted to hear about it.
Hello, Keith.
Yeah, that was absolutely Keith. So yeah, Dragon Con, this is Dragon Con 2017 playing. Dragon Con 2018 planning. Oh my God, y'all. Like the worst part is this convention ends and you're immediately planning for next year, whether it's, I used to be one of those people who immediately was like somehow added to a ton of cosplay groups. Thank God I am not that person anymore. But my friend and I have already talked about a new bunny hutch for next year, but it is top secret. Because we did Hunger Games 2 years in a row so that we could get actual like usage out of some pretty awesome cosplays. But I'm over the hair and the makeup and the butterflies on my chest for Effie. So yeah, nowadays I'm pretty much, I spend the first few weeks of September waiting for the Hyatt to charge my credit card. So if you're grandfathered into the Hyatt, they did charge you on the 20th, so make sure that went through. If you want to try for a room at the Hyatt, October 4th at 9 a.m. Eastern. Nobody knows what's going on with Andrew. Do you know anything about the Sheridan? Does anybody know anything about the Sheridan?
I neither know nor care about the Sheridan. It is that shadowy place which we do not go to. I mean, registration, you know what? I'm glad that they kept registration there just so there were not more tracks that were placed there and we were not forced to slog over to the Sheridan for more than we needed to. So,
true.
Yeah, no idea.
So nobody has any clue what's going on. All I know is that the website does not have a date they go on sale. Maybe they already did. It does not have a price. It does say that deposit of your full stay is required upon booking. That's not a deposit, y'all. That is paying for your full fucking stay. So they need to reword that. But yeah, there's like maybe people who stay at the Sheridan have like an in on when it gets booked, but like good luck, you guys. Maybe next year they won't raise your prices on you by $20 a night randomly.
Suddenly, no warning.
So yeah, no idea about the Sheridan. Does Westin? Does anybody stay in the Westin?
No.
I stay in the A-Loft, and the A-Loft is the bomb diggity.
We have one of our friends, actually, the Chloe who was on the theory panel with us, stays in that hotel like at least the past 2 years, maybe longer.
No, Chloe is, last year was her first year, wasn't it?
That's what I'm saying, like this year and last year.
She's in the Colonial. She doesn't stay at the Aloft.
She was in the Aloft last year.
She told me she was in the
I don't know. I'm pretty sure she was at the Aloft. I could
Well,
be wrong.
they're gonna have a kitchen. I'm gonna be there next year.
I had Brian stayed in the Aloft a few years ago. I think it might have been 2014, and really liked it. But I don't know.
Come down on time. It's not crowded.
Yeah. Weston already released their first block and it sold out, but they will release more blocks. So you just have to keep an eye on things. I mean, my suggestion is to join all the DragonCon room groups and like get notifications from them for the next couple months. It's going to suck because you'll get a lot of notifications you don't need, but if you really want or need a room, that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
And then Marriott is October 11th.
Ooh, yeah. 3-peat.
Yeah.
Make it happen.
Marriott, 9 a.m. Eastern. May the odds be ever in your favor.
Hey, we got stuck in the Marriott elevator for like 30 minutes Friday night.
Why did it like...
That's an adventure. That's an adventure.
Okay, so everybody's done it at this point. So we got stuck. Some people started freaking out saying we were running out of air. No one would answer our calls. And then 30 minutes later, they come up, open up the doors, and we're like halfway, to the next level. So we had to duck our heads down and jump out real quick. It was fucked.
Marriott!
That would creep me the fuck out because I don't like enclosed spaces. Like that's why we
it tests you, Tara. You got to keep your cool.
Yeah, that's why I'm glad I stay in the Hyatt, and I tell them I cannot stay above like the 6th floor. And even the 6th floor is pushing it. I can't walk that in heels, but like, that's on me, not on them. But this year we were on the 2nd floor and I did not take the elevator. I think I took it on the way in when we had a bunch of bags and stuff, but I didn't take it on the way.
Let's get stuck.
Any other time.
Let's test our characters.
And knock on table here. I've low floor requested at the Marriott, and both years been granted it. Same floor, 4th floor, super easy to walk. So.
Yeah, I can't imagine getting stuck in an elevator. I wouldn't be freaking out about no air. I know better than that, but I would absolutely be like clutching my knees on the floor, hyperventilating. So does that happen regularly?
Fuck it, fine though. It sounds like it.
If it overloads the weight, I mean, I live in a high rise and like the elevators get stuck pretty often if it's overloaded. So I mean, that could be it.
Anyway, so October 11th for the Marriott. Good luck, y'all. Bekah, I know you stayed at Hotel Indigo, but I mean that's not a host hotel. That's one of the ones that you just have to kind of hope that you get a room at if you don't get a host hotel room, I guess.
It really wasn't that bad. Like it's really they have this giant like shower and you could like have a party in it, and I wanted to have a shower party. The staff is really rude, and it's not just because it's DragonCon. They just were rude in general. They didn't want to help anything. They didn't want to help with anything. It took us, like 6 hours to get towels one time. They were just really, and also they don't communicate with each other. So we ended up pretty fucked up with the room situation, but luckily we got it straightened out. But like, I don't know, just in general, they were kind of just nasty, and I was just kind of like, eh. But
I mean, the Hyatt is like, I love the Hyatt for a lot of reasons. The faucet is too close to the back of the sink. That sounds like a weird complaint, but trust me, it's awful because it like makes a mess. Like you can't go in there and like fill a water bottle. You can't wash your hands without getting water all over the place, and it's obnoxious. It's a stupid bad design, and I hate it, and I'll complain about it every year. But they wouldn't give us washcloths this year, and that's not even a complaint. It's just a very odd, like, we could get plenty of towels and plenty of hand towels, to dry our hands, but we had to specifically ask for washcloths. Like we asked for them once and they brought us more hand towels. So we asked for them again and we were like, okay, they brought us hand towels last time. We need like face cloths, the little ones. They finally bring us some. They bring us 2. And it's like, okay.
Yeah,
I
the
guess
only
I'll take
complaint
it.
about the A-loft is the bathroom wasn't big enough for my friend and his fiance to have a 3-way. It was rough because like he was waking up the other 10 people in the room. It just wasn't made for that,
I mean, I don't know how big the bathrooms in there are, but you can't even have like sex with one person in the Hyatt bathroom. It's so goddamn tiny. So
I will say the Marriott ones are A++. They're
And there wasn't enough towels for the cleanup either. I kept requesting towels to clean up the cum, but they wouldn't, Oh.
you just gotta wipe down your own loads. That's gotta, if
Right,
it's always sunny, it's taught you anything.
Well, our shower was big enough for multiple orgies. And you know what we did with our shower? We took showers in it. No, but legit though, it had like water spouts from like 2 different directions. It was really cool. I feel like we could have utilized it, but
I mean, Hotel Indigos are really nice. There's one in Asheville as well. But I mean, and the Hotel Indigo, like if you can't stay at a host hotel, it's definitely one of the top ones to stay in because it's right between the Hyatt and the Westin on Peachtree. It's like so close to everything in terms of distance anyway. Like I mean, everybody's always talking about DragonCon TV. I mean, we were too busy playing Legend of Capitalism to watch.
Yeah. How long did anybody watch DragonCon TV? I think I watched some of the reruns, like when I was hungover once or twice. But
I've stayed at the Hyatt for 5 of my 6 years now, and I've watched DragonCon TV 1 year, and it was last year. And it was just on in the background. It wasn't something we like chose to watch. I mean, the reason why I like being in the host hotels is because it's so easy to get from point A to point B without going outside. And if I hadn't been on panels with Apocalypse Rising, I probably would never have left the trifecta. So
yeah,
the
Holy Trinity.
Yeah, the Holy Trinity. Hyatt, Marriott, Hilton. I mean, I rarely go to the Hilton. I think the only thing I went there this year for was the Bunny Hutch.
I'm gonna give a good shout out for the Hilton though. The costume track did a really good room. And it's not as good as Josh's throne, but they did have a good foam iron throne, and then they had some awesome costumes just that were made. For example, there was a poison ivy with actual ivy. There was an awesome steampunk.
They had Josh's throne there sometimes.
Yeah, no. But in the I know what you're saying. For the parties, there was a party on Wednesday night, and there was a photo shoot. But there also is a separate costume track room that had a bunch of nice costumes and props, in addition to another Iron Throne, not Josh's. And I love Josh's. I have 100 photos on it.
Yeah.
Those from Ice and Fire Con and from everywhere else. So I did not need to pull one more, but I did need a Iron Throne photo.
All right. So it's getting close to 9 o'clock. We'll wrap this up. Upcoming events for anybody?
This weekend, I think Tara and I are going to be at Tampa Bay MegaCon. Get my Stanley on.
Oh, are you doing Stanley?
Yes, 10:30. I need to figure out how quickly I'm going to need to wake up, but yeah, I'll be there. Saturday.
Yeah, I'm a guest at MegaCon Tampa this weekend, so I'll have a booth in the celebrity autograph / cosplay alley area in the exhibit hall. I'm running their Game of Thrones panel Saturday morning at 11, and I've got a ladies' guide to the apocalypse panel that I'm actually kind of I'm using the one I did at DragonCon with the Apocalypse Rising track as a basis. I think I'm the only panelist, so it's going to be a little bit, aka a lot different, but it's going to be loosely based on that. So I got that this weekend, and then Beach City Con in October, and then thank the gods, the convention season is over for me until possibly MagFest in the beginning of January. So anybody else? Yeah.
I mean, I have Beach City Con.
Yeah, Steven
And
Universe.
That's it. Beach City Con. I thought about going to Conuga. I don't know if I'll do it this year.
Do it.
I did it last
Do it.
year.
Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Okay.
If I was still in South Carolina, I'd do it in a heartbeat, but I'm not.
I'll message
I'm not
you.
I'm not gonna fly to Conuga. Sorry,
Yeah,
not sorry.
I don't. I'll message you. I need to figure out a room situation. But no, then I've got Beach City Con, then I guess Conuga now apparently, which is fine. And then Ice and Fire Con, and then from there on, I guess that's it.
Zach,
All right.
do you have anything coming up?
AWA coming up this weekend.
Oh, are you going to AWA?
Huh?
Are you going to AWA? Have you been before?
I have not.
It's pretty fun.
So it'll be a new experience for me. Conuga comes up, and then Decepticon.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, other than MagFest in early January, I have not agreed to go to any conventions between MagFest and Ice and FireCon. I keep telling myself I'm going to cut back on conventions. So next year, it's my goal to actually obey that. But we'll see. So yeah, that's about it. And it's right at 9:00. So for once, we are actually going to end this on time. That's amazing. That never happens. It always goes over. Congratulations, guys. So I am Tara, along with special guests Bekah, Zach, and Andrew. Thank you again for joining us for Feelings with the Geekiary. Remember, we are a free webcast run off of donations from viewers like you. So if you contribute to our host site, the Geekiary, thank you. If not, please consider doing so. And we will see you next month, which is like a week from tomorrow, on our regular Feelings episode. If you want to watch me and two other lovely ladies discuss and or bitch and moan about general pop culture nonsense. So thanks again for watching, and everybody, I hope you have a great night.
Goodbye, y'all.